Hi guys, today is only the 7th day of 2021, but already we can see that this is a very difficult year. So we have to just carry on and don't give up. Okay, I want to talk about three things. The first thing is about the Georgia runoff. Now we can see that both racers had this mysterious turnaround with so-called vote dumps in the middle of the night. Very similar to what we have analyzed in Wisconsin, Michigan, and elsewhere. Now, I think what really happened is very simple. We have counties that are very populous and strongholds of the Democrats, which also reportedly have a heavy condensation or proportion of mail-in votes. But for some reasons, the Democrats, or the way that they control the election in Georgia, is the same thing. They want to do the vote counting of the mail-in votes separate from the other votes. And they would like to centralize everything. And after they have counted everything, they would like to do one single input in the middle of the night. Now, this is a recipe for disaster, and this is the best chance to commit fraud. Okay, and I have done that in my series on the Biden magic regarding Wisconsin and Michigan. At 6:31 a.m. in Michigan, on the 4th of November, we had a massive input of 149,772 votes, which was statistically impossible to explain. Now, they were trying to debunk a similar accusation in Wisconsin, because they are citing that in Milwaukee, they were centralizing and also counting the mail-in votes in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and only did the input at 3:30, after 3:30 in the morning. But then in Michigan, it wasn't the case, because according to the local news in Detroit, the most populous city in Michigan, and also a Democrat stronghold, Detroit, they have finished the counting of all the mail-in votes way before that. And they have finished more than 60% of the mail-in votes before the voting stopped at 7:30 p.m. on the 3rd of November on the election night. So that 140-something thousand that came out at 6:31 came out from nowhere. But the thing is, we did not have law enforcement people to actually go and investigate. So we will never find out the truth. But I think most of the people with average intelligence or beyond, with the intelligence of 3-year-old, would highly doubt whether those votings in Michigan, in Wisconsin, in Georgia were free and fair. We just don't trust it, okay? But then we are not the law enforcement. We have no power to investigate. We can only watch. Now, this is a tragedy. The second thing that I would talk about is the New York Stock Exchange decision regarding the three China's telecom listed in the New York Stock Exchange. And last week, they have made a decision according to the executive order of the current sitting president, Donald J. Trump, that they were going to delist these three companies from the New York Stock Exchange because they did not comply with the American disclosure and accounting principles. Which I think is fine, because this is the law and this is an executive order. They just had to follow the guidelines. Okay? But within 3 days, they reversed that decision, which was very strange. And they did not give an explanation. But the stranger thing is that after they reversed the delisting decision, 2 days later, they reversed that again and said they would go ahead and still delist these 3 companies because they are now following the guidelines of the Treasury Department. Now we know that the Trump administration is moving out. We know that we have a new administration coming in. So why did they defy the executive order of a lame duck president and suddenly they adhere to a Treasury Department which was part of the lame duck presidency of the flip and flop and flip? Why was that? So I think the first thing was that the reason why they defied the president's executive order was because there was a perceived stronger authority forcing them to do so. Now this is the only logical deduction. And who would be stronger than the sitting president? That must be the incoming president. So it must be an instruction from the incoming president. But because, for whatever reason, the Trump administration was adamant that they should keep it the way it is, so they enforced a new Treasury guideline to reverse the New York Stock Exchange decision. So we can see that the current administration is very strong standing on one side, and the Biden incoming administration is also strongly standing on the other side. Now this is very clear. So whether you are a fan of this or you are a fan of that, but you should not be ignorant to not see the difference. And any kind of suggestion of a consensus, of bipartisan consensus of the 2 parties regarding how they look at the threat, external threats, whether it's from the east or from the west, whether it's from Siberia or from a bit east of Siberia. I don't want to go to the details, but you know what I mean, right? Because obviously the Democrats had one view and the Republicans, or rather the Trump administration, had another view. Now there's no consensus. Now who was right, who was wrong, who would be tough on China, who would be not tough on China? I think you can get the conclusion easily without my telling you. Okay, this is the second thing. The third thing I want to share my thoughts with you is what happened last night in DC. It was a tragedy. And I'm going to put on my Patreon that you can see from this link that a woman was shot and killed inside the Capitol. Very painful thing to watch. Now, if you ask me, I'm from Hong Kong. I have observed things happen in 2019. I can tell you the same script without too much modification was moved to the District of Columbia. And unfortunately, the peace-loving supporter of democracy were trapped inside this indecent, immoral conspiracy. And I don't know what else to say, but I think you should be calm. If you know what you're doing is right, you have to persevere. You would prevail, but be peaceful and non-violent. Follow the advice of your president. Be peaceful, non-violent, and just don't surrender. Don't give up hope. This is my message to Americans who are my brothers. Thank you.